Yeah, water is vitally important. Like, we don't realize that every single morning we wake up dehydrated. And the reason that that is always the case is, if, well, that's if we've slept through for, let's say, 7 or 8 hours without waking up and taking water on board through the night, because we're constantly losing H2O, water, every time we exhale. And the reason is, the only way we can get oxygen into our bloodstream, in order that our body and brain can use it for metabolism to release more energy from the glucose that we have knocking around the body, and then we have to breathe away the carbon dioxide, which is a waste material of that carbon, of that metabolism. And so, in order to get this gas exchange happening across the inner surface of our lungs, it has to be moist. But then on every exhalation, we blow away this water vapor. We're always losing water vapor. We're blowing it away, blowing it away, blowing it away. And it's only, obviously in the daytime, we can take a sip of water. We can take water on board through the food that we eat. There are various different ways we can top up our water levels during the day. And so the one thing that I always tell people to remember is that the older you get, the more blunt your thirst becomes. What do I mean by that? So young people, that as soon as they're slightly dehydrated, they'll feel thirsty, and they'll do that'll remind them to do something about it and take on board some water. But then during midlife, your thirst is a bit delayed. The thirst kicks in a little bit after you've become dehydrated, and indeed you have to be slightly more proactive. If you're waiting until you're thirsty before you drink water, then you've left it a little bit late. But in the sort of retirement years, it's particularly acute. People can get really dehydrated and not feel thirsty. So you have to remember to take on board water on a regular basis. Now, why? So the reason it's so important is that biologically, all sorts of different systems are compromised if there's not enough water in our body and brain, right? Also, it can affect digestion, it can affect various functions of the bodily organs. But because I'm obsessed by the brain, I focus on that bit. And the electrical messages that are sent from one end to the other of those 86 billion neurons operate at 250 miles per hour in a well-hydrated brain. But it actually slows down the speed at which messages go from one end to the other of these neurons. And if you think about all of our cognitive powers, all of our sensory abilities are driven by these neurons sharing information with each other really, really rapidly. And so it's not that the message doesn't get there at all. It's just, if the message is only traveling down these myelinated neurons at 150 or 200 miles per hour compared to the 250 that is usual, it means that some of those messages are arriving a little bit late, so that everything's slowed down somewhat. So in the morning, because we've slept through the night, we've been blowing away all this water, we're a little bit dehydrated, almost by definition, if we've slept through without waking up to drink water in the night. The reason we feel foggy headed in the morning, and we're sort of a bit malcoordinated, dropping things, like rushing to get out of the house. We don't know where we've put things. Where are my keys? Where's my wallet? Where's my lunch? We can be a bit discombobulated if we're trying to get going early in the morning. It's basically because we're dehydrated, and we'll of course take some kind of water on board at some point in the morning, because you'll get round to it eventually. But what I advise people to do, BOP number one, you start each day completely dehydrated. Get a glass of water ready next to your bed, and then the first thing you do after you open your eyes is down it. I'm quite 90 kilos, 6 foot tall. I tend to do a pint. Other people that drinking that much water in the morning would make them feel sick. But the point is, rather than waiting until further down the line when you happen to have taken on board fluids, just get it done straight away. And you can regain, let's say, 15 minutes where you would otherwise feel foggy headed each day just because you're dehydrated and your brain isn't firing on all cylinders. If you regain 15 minutes, let's say half an hour of clear mindedness in the morning each day, then that's 3.5 hours each week. That's 7 hours each fortnight. That's 14 hours of extra clear thinking per month. If you add it up over the course of a year or a lifetime, such a simple fix.